The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck by Mark Manson. Summary. Introduction. In The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck, Mark Manson presents a counterintuitive approach to living a good life. Instead of advocating for constant positivity, Manson argues that life's struggles and limitations are inevitable, and that we should focus on the things that truly matter. The book is structured around the idea that finding what's important to us and letting go of the rest is the key to a fulfilling life. The modern world offers a plethora of opportunities at our fingertips. Whether you're looking for a partner, a career, or the best way to get your daily news, the abundance of choices can be overwhelming. Despite the advancements and conveniences of our generation, many of us feel stressed and dissatisfied. Manson theorizes that the freedom of choice has backfired, leading to an epidemic of burnout and stress. He believes that because we have so many options, we're trying to have it all, which is not sustainable. Through this summary, we'll explore Manson's suggestions for improving our quality of life, starting with his number one tip: don't give a fuck. Or at least, not about things that don't matter. By following his advice, we'll uncover the very short list of things we should give a fuck about and learn some stress management strategies, including why we should stop comparing ourselves to Metallica, the secret to embracing self-criticism, why we need to let go. Chapter 1, Don't Try. Manson opens with the story of Charles Bukowski, a writer who achieved success late in life despite his flaws and lack of ambition. Bukowski's epitaph reads, "Don't try," which Manson interprets as a call to stop trying to be something we're not and to accept our true selves. Manson suggests that the key to a good life is not to try to be positive all the time, but to learn to handle adversity better. He introduces the feedback loop from hell, where we stress about being stressed, and suggests that we should focus on what truly matters instead. Bukowski's life was riddled with failures and disappointments, yet he found success by being true to himself and embracing his flaws. Manson uses this story to illustrate the idea that trying too hard to be something we're not can lead to unnecessary stress and dissatisfaction. Instead, we should focus on being authentic and accepting our limitations. This mindset shift can help us manage our expectations and find contentment in our everyday lives. Chapter 2, Happiness is a Problem. Manson argues that problems are a constant in life, and that happiness comes from solving these problems. He states that the pursuit of happiness itself is a problem, because it often leads to frustration and dissatisfaction. Manson introduces the concept of good values and bad values. Good values are reality-based, socially constructive, and immediate and controllable, while bad values are superstitious, socially destructive, and not immediate or controllable. He stresses the importance of choosing good values to guide our lives. According to Manson, the quest for happiness often causes more harm than good. When we focus on the pursuit of happiness, we tend to avoid problems and challenges, which are essential for growth and fulfillment. Instead of trying to eliminate problems, Manson suggests that we should aim to find better problems to solve. He emphasizes that happiness is a byproduct of solving meaningful problems, not an end goal in itself. Chapter 3, You Are Not Special. Manson critiques the culture of exceptionalism, where everyone is told they are special and unique. He argues that this mindset leads to entitlement and unrealistic expectations. By accepting that we are not special, and that our problems are not unique, we can focus on what truly matters. Manson uses the example of his own struggles to illustrate that accepting our ordinary nature can be liberating and help us achieve more realistic and meaningful goals. The culture of exceptionalism has led many people to believe that they are destined for greatness simply because they exist. This entitlement can lead to disappointment and frustration when reality doesn't meet these high expectations. Manson argues that by accepting our ordinariness, we can set more realistic goals and focus on what truly matters. This shift in perspective can help us find contentment and satisfaction in our daily lives. Chapter 4, The Value of Suffering. This chapter delves into the idea that our values determine the quality of our problems. Manson emphasizes that choosing the right values is crucial because they dictate the quality of our lives. Good values lead to better problems, which in turn lead to a better life. He discusses how suffering can be a source of meaning and growth, using examples from his own life and those of historical figures. Manson argues that by choosing to value the right things, we can find meaning in our suffering and live more fulfilling lives. Suffering is an inevitable part of life, and trying to avoid it only leads to more pain. Manson suggests that instead of trying to eliminate suffering, we should focus on finding meaning in it. He uses examples from his own life, such as his struggles with career and relationships, to illustrate how embracing suffering can lead to growth and fulfillment. By choosing values that align with our goals and aspirations, we can transform our suffering into a source of strength and resilience. Chapter 5. You are always choosing. Manson asserts that we always have a choice in how we respond to our circumstances. He distinguishes between blame and responsibility, emphasizing that while we may not be to blame for our circumstances, we are always responsible for how we deal with them. Manson uses the example of William James, who overcame severe health issues and career failures by taking responsibility for his life. He argues that by accepting responsibility for our choices, we can empower ourselves and improve our lives. Life is full of unexpected challenges and setbacks, but how we respond to them is within our control. Manson argues that taking responsibility for our choices, even when circumstances are beyond our control, can empower us to make positive changes in our lives. He uses the story of William James, a prominent psychologist who overcame significant obstacles, to illustrate the power of taking responsibility for one's life. By adopting this mindset, we can find the strength to overcome adversity and achieve our goals. Chapter 6. You're wrong about everything, but so am I. In this chapter, Manson discusses the limitations of our knowledge and the importance of being open to new perspectives. He introduces the Dunning-Kruger effect, where people with limited knowledge overestimate their competence. Manson encourages readers to embrace uncertainty and admit their ignorance, as this openness leads to growth and better decision-making. He argues that by questioning our beliefs and being willing to be wrong, we can improve our understanding of the world and make better choices. Our understanding of the world is limited and constantly evolving. Manson argues that acknowledging our ignorance and being open to new information is crucial for personal growth. He uses the Dunning-Kruger effect to illustrate how overconfidence in our knowledge can hinder our progress. By questioning our beliefs and being willing to admit when we're wrong, we can expand our understanding and make more informed decisions. This humility and openness can lead to greater personal and professional growth. Chapter 7. Failure is the way forward. Manson argues that failure is an essential part of growth and success. He shares personal anecdotes and stories of famous individuals who achieved great things through repeated failures. The key is to learn from failures and use them as opportunities for improvement. Manson introduces the concept of the pain paradox, where the avoidance of pain leads to more pain, and suggests that by embracing failure, we can achieve greater success. He argues that by redefining our relationship with failure, we can pursue our goals more fearlessly and effectively. Failure is often seen as something to be avoided, but Manson argues that it is a necessary part of the journey to success. He shares examples of individuals who have achieved great things despite, or even because of, their failures. Manson introduces the concept of the pain paradox, where avoiding pain leads to more suffering in the long run. By embracing failure and learning from it, we can grow and improve. This mindset shift can help us pursue our goals with greater resilience and determination. Chapter 8. The importance of saying no. Setting boundaries and saying no are crucial for maintaining our sanity and focusing on what truly matters. Manson discusses the importance of commitment and how it leads to greater depth and satisfaction in life. He uses the example of Pete Best, who was kicked out of the Beatles, but found happiness by focusing on what truly mattered to him. Manson argues that by saying no to things that don't align with our values, we create space for what truly enriches our lives. He emphasizes that commitment to a few key things leads to a more meaningful and fulfilling life. In a world full of opportunities, it can be tempting to say yes to everything. However, Manson argues that saying no is just as important as saying yes. By setting boundaries and prioritizing what truly matters, we can focus our energy on the things that bring us the most satisfaction. He uses the example of Pete Best, who found happiness by focusing on his passion for music rather than the success of the Beatles. By committing to a few key things, we can achieve greater depth and fulfillment in our lives. Chapter 9, And Then You Die. In the final chapter, Manson confronts the reality of death and its impact on our lives. He argues that acknowledging and accepting our mortality puts life into perspective. Manson shares the story of his friend's death and how it reshaped his own values and perspective on life. He suggests that by accepting the finite nature of life, we can prioritize what truly matters and live more authentically. Manson argues that the fear of death can motivate us to live better lives and focus on what truly matters. Death is an inevitable part of life, and Manson argues that acknowledging this fact can help us live more fully. He shares the story of his friend's death and how it forced him to reevaluate his priorities. By accepting our mortality, we can put our lives into perspective and focus on what truly matters. Manson suggests that the fear of death can be a powerful motivator to live authentically and make the most of our time. This perspective can help us prioritize our values and live more meaningful lives. Conclusion. Manson concludes by reiterating that life's struggles and challenges are inevitable, but we have the power to choose what we struggle for. By focusing on what truly matters, setting healthy boundaries, and accepting responsibility for our choices, we can live more meaningful and fulfilling lives. The key to happiness is not in avoiding problems, but in finding good problems to solve and embracing the process of solving them. Manson encourages readers to embrace life's uncertainties, prioritize what matters, and take responsibility for their own happiness. Key takeaways. Happiness is not a goal, but a byproduct of solving meaningful problems. We must choose our values wisely, as they determine the quality of our lives. Embracing our limitations and failures leads to growth and improvement. Setting boundaries and saying no is essential for maintaining focus and sanity. Acknowledging our mortality helps prioritize what truly matters. Final thoughts. The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck challenges traditional self-help advice and offers a more realistic and practical approach to personal growth. Manson's blunt and humorous style makes complex philosophical ideas accessible and relatable. By focusing on what truly matters and letting go of the rest, we can lead more fulfilling and authentic lives. This detailed summary captures the essence and key lessons of The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck, providing a comprehensive understanding of Manson's unconventional approach to self-improvement. The book's insights can help readers find greater satisfaction and fulfillment by focusing on what truly matters and letting go of the rest.